What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Well, in today's video, we are going over Mana as its price has dropped pretty significantly today. As we can see, its price is down about 9.3% at the moment and seemingly continuing towards the downside as Bitcoin's price did crash, causing the rest of the market to see a pullback. Now, in today's video, we're not only going to be talking about what we're seeing, but what I am expecting to see coming over the next few weeks and how we can best take advantage of this pullback that we are seeing in the Mana price. A lot of people on YouTube and Twitter and Reddit and all these places are just going to be screaming, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. And that becomes very easy to say, but there's always the questions being asked. Well, how do I know when's the best time to buy? I mean, do I just buy it and hold on for dear life, hoping I didn't buy a falling knife? Or do I just buy it randomly in these different areas and hope that I time it perfectly? Well, in today's video, I'm going to give you guys my strategy on how I buy these dips, how I best take advantage of them, and how I tend to get really great sniper entries and catch this thing as it's working its way back up to set some new highs. And so with that being said, of course, let's go ahead and let's get into today's video. So the first step of this strategy is going to be identifying support levels. This is going to be absolutely crucial. You need to know where your key levels of support are and when you can expect to see the price start to bounce, because if you miss the bounce, you might miss a great entry. So we're going to identify 4 key support levels for the price of Mana. The first one is going to be $2.93, which is exactly where we are right now. Now, the reason that this is going to be a key support level is going to be due to the fact that we put in this W bottom here with midline resistance being at $2.93. So what that means is that you can see here that the majority of these major closes happen below or at $2.93, going to say that this is going to be a key level of resistance. Now, not only is it a key level of resistance, we can see once we cleared it, we came back to backtest it as support. And once we held this level of support, we did continue upwards. What that says to me is that once we did see this resistance flip into support, this is now a very strong support level that we should at least struggle to fall down below. Now, what you can see happening at the exact moment of recording this video is that if we go down to the 5-minute charts, the price is trying to maintain this level, right? We see this bounce, we came back down, we lost it, but we recovered it, found some support, and are trying to find some support now. All of that to just show that this is support level number 1. Now, let's identify the next 3 support levels before we get into how we use these support levels. So, support level number 2 is going to be back out on the daily charts. We're going to take a look at our 20 simple moving average on our Bollinger Bands. Now, what this is going to be just basically your most simple moving average that you can use, okay? The 20 simple moving average tends to act as a key level of support and resistance dependent on whatever side you're on. Of course, if you're above it, it's a key level of support. If you're below it, it's a key level of resistance. We can see that there was already a near interaction here back a few days ago on the 11th that approved and said that, okay, this region around this 20 simple moving average shall act as our support. So what that tells me is that if we were to come back down and lose $2.93, we have a secondary level of support at $2.64 at this exact moment, which is represented by the 20 simple moving average. We have seen many times that cryptos will find support at this level, then start to look to extend outside of their Bollinger Bands again, as we saw back here, which will allow them to continue upwards. Even Mana's price, whenever we were back in some of these smaller time frames, did the same thing. You can see here, we came up, we tried to establish the support, and we extended back out, came back down, established support, came back out, and you see, look at the amount of support establishment that's happened on the 20 simple moving average that has allowed us to continue to the top side. Even back here, support, 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 support. We lost it, we crashed, okay? And so that's what we need to be keeping an eye on is, can we hold this 20 simple moving average as support? Now, not only the 20 SMA, if you like your EMAs, they apply just as well. One thing you can see is that we came back down and had an exact touch on the 20 exponential moving average to go to say that our 20 EMA and our 20 SMA are both acting as very, very important moving averages for the price to hold some support. So at the moment, as you can see, we have those 3 already. We have $2.93, which we are seemingly losing at the moment, and that's going to be midline resistance and support as provided by this W bottom. We also had our 20 simple moving average as provided by, of course, our Bollinger Bands, or you can just turn on a 20 simple moving average. Lastly, we have our 20 EMA, which is just going to be currently at, let's go ahead and say, about $2.60. Those are our 3 short-term support levels, okay? Those are the ones that I am expecting to hold in the short term. Now, if we were to see a more extensive crash, if we were to see the price retrace in more of an extensive way, well, where can it go? So now our final level of support, now that we have those other three established, is going to be our Fibonacci's. Now, our Fibonacci's are going to be our long to mid-term support levels. Generally speaking, once you lose your EMAs, you lose your simple moving averages, your Fibonacci serve as that final level of support to be the indicator of whether or not we are going into a full-blown correction or a crash, or if we are going to see a reversal. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw on a Fibonacci from the low in which we put in back around October 26th. You're going to take that Fibonacci and then draw it all the way up to your all-time high. You're then going to identify your 618, your 0.618 to your 0.786 zone. This is between $2.35 and $1.65. That is your minimum level of support. Generally speaking, if the price of a crypto falls below this level, let's go ahead and get it a price label. Down at the 786, $1.64. Generally speaking, if the price of a crypto falls below the 786 and starts getting a daily close down there without immediately recovering, there is a very high likelihood of it continuing back down towards wherever the low that it initially put in was, in this case back towards $1 roughly. I do not believe this is going to happen. I would be incredibly surprised if we see the price of Mana falling below $1.64 and continuing back down towards $1. It does not make much physical sense considering the amount of internal value added to Decentraland itself. So with that being said, I'm under the belief that $1.64 is our minimum level of support, and that if we came all the way down to it, that we for sure would find some support at that level. So that is support level number 4. So now that we have our 4 levels of support identified, again, $2.93 to $2.94 as identified by the midline resistance of this W bottom. We also have our 20 EMA, which is going to be here, and we have our 20 SMA, which is going to be here. So those are our 4 levels of support. Now that we know what our 4 levels of support are, we know when we can expect a bounce. I do believe that even if we continue to fall through them, that we will at least find a bounce off of one of these levels. And so with that being said, now we look to see when do we confirm that the bounce that we see off of that support level is the bounce to push us back up towards all-time highs. So let's go over that. So the way in which I personally like to identify a confirmation bounce, what that's going to be is the bounce that says, okay, we're in a bullish reversal. This thing is taking back off to some new highs, is I use my Fibonacci's to the top side. So what I'm going to do in order to identify this is I'm going to go from the most recent local high, which is going to be sitting towards $3.50, and I'm going to draw a Fibonacci all the way down to whatever low we put in. So at the moment, we do seem to be trying to find some support at 293. So I'm going to go ahead at our support level number 1. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that Fibonacci from the most local high down to this key level of support. And from there, since we put in a bottom at 275, that's my low for this Fibonacci. From there, I'm going to look to identify at what point do we cross the 618 to 786 zone to the top side. Because remember, when the price is falling, generally speaking, it will not clear the 618 to 786 zone if it is going to reverse. The same works when it's going up. What that means is that generally speaking, if the price is going to reverse back to the downside, it's not going to clear the 786 to the top side. And so what we can expect is that if we do clear the 618 to 786 zone to the top side, that is a sign that there's a strong likelihood of us going back up to retest some of these previous highs, which could be the confirmation bounce that we're looking for, which would serve as a fantastic dollar cost average entry. And so all of that to say, sure, even if it clears the 786 here, it could come all the way back up and put in a double top. But at least we are able to get in on an entry that is very justifiable and could very well serve as the move that gets us back up to all-time highs. So even if the price was to do something like this, let's go ahead and let's give another example. Let's go ahead and say the price goes all the way down to the daily EMA, the 20 EMA, okay? So say the price does something like this, in which we see this move happen. Boom. Let's do that. And let's do this. And we see something of this nature. Okay. So we're going to zoom back down to the 4 hours now that we have that drawn out. So this is where it's going to bounce down to if it's coming down to the 20 EMA. From there, I'm going from our most recent local high again down to that low that we put in right here, say hypothetically at $2.50. In this example, I'm waiting for the clearing of the 0.786, which would at that point be the $3.30 region. Once we saw a bounce of this nature, boom, and we come up and eventually clear this, that's the confirmation that I'm looking for, that we are working our way back up to go set some new highs to try to set a new local high, which could be the start of the uptrend that we are waiting for. And so the way that this is going to work is it's going to make you wait a little bit longer. You may not get buys in down here. And if that's not your style, sure, go ahead and do what you want to do. And I cannot blame you at all. I totally value anyone who's simply willing to buy in when the things are red. But personally, I like waiting for confirmations to the upside, especially when my dollar cost average already is pretty dang on low, right? Our average costs are lower than the price that we're at for most cryptos. And so there's no point for me personally to be rushing these things. So if I can still get it at a discount somewhere down here as it works its way back up here and have the confirmation that it's not likely going to continue falling, that's what I'd much rather do. And that's my strategy. So overall, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. It's a little bit different. It's not really focused on where exactly it's going, but more how I'm going to handle it when it goes to these areas. And so if you did enjoy today's video, of course, you can let me know by smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel if you are new. And with that being said, I go over all of this in my Patreon. I talk about my strategies, my trades, my buys, my sells, my holds, everything like that. So please go down to the description and go check it out. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.